Chosen one, you are not hearing these words by chance, and you did not arrive here by accident. This moment was scheduled by heaven itself, aligned by divine intelligence, and released into your life at the exact second your spirit was ready to receive it. Long before you pressed play, God had already marked this encounter. Something has been stirring within you, a quiet awareness that the season around your life is shifting, that what once felt delayed is now aligning with precision. Anointed one, understand this clearly. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. This is a threshold moment where obedience meets promise, where preparation gives way to manifestation. Scripture reminds us that there is a time and a season for every purpose under heaven, and this is your appointed season. What has been forming in the unseen is about to surface in the seen, not gradually but suddenly. This is not about ego status or chasing wealth. This is about divine stewardship, kingdom assignment, and a transfer that flows through you to impact others. Heaven does not release increase casually. It releases it when alignment is complete. And chosen one, alignment has been taking place in you quietly, faithfully, intentionally. So as you listen, remain present, let your spirit lean in. And if this resonates, stay connected, subscribe, so you don't miss what heaven is unfolding here. And as an act of agreement, type 777 in the comments. What follows is not information, it is activation. Chosen one. If you feel that quiet stirring in your spirit right now, do not dismiss it and do not try to rationalize it away. This is not emotion and it is not imagination. This is recognition. This is the moment when something already written in heaven begins to echo inside you. There are seasons when words simply inform, and then there are moments when truth activates. This is the latter. Heaven is confirming that you are standing at the threshold of something far greater than what your eyes can currently measure. You are not being warmed up for a small breakthrough or positioned for a minor improvement. You are being aligned for a level of increase that alters direction, not just for you, but for everyone connected to your obedience. Favor is finding you. Opportunity is being synchronized with your name. Overflow is not chasing you because you ran faster. It is responding because you stayed faithful when it was difficult to do so. Anointed one, I want you to hear this slowly and let it land. What you are stepping into did not come cheaply, and it did not come quickly. There were seasons when nothing made sense on the surface, when effort felt heavy and progress felt delayed, when doors closed without explanation and silence seemed louder than answers. I remember seasons like that in my own life, moments where the outward evidence contradicted the inward knowing. Everything around me suggested stagnation, yet deep down there was a steady, unshakable awareness that something unseen was being arranged. Looking back now, I understand that those moments were not empty, they were active. Heaven was working quietly, deliberately, beyond what I could track with logic. And if you are honest with yourself, you have felt that same knowing too. The ideas that rise without warning, the nudges that refuse to leave you alone, the moments where you almost move forward, hesitate, and then feel the pull return even stronger. Those are not random thoughts. Those are divine signals testing your readiness to listen. Chosen one. Abundance does not always announce itself with noise. Often it whispers before it roars. That subtle sense that something is shifting, that impatience with stagnation, you can no longer tolerate that restlessness that is not rooted in greed but in purpose. These are not problems to fix. They are signs to recognize. This is what alignment feels like before acceleration. It feels uncomfortable because you are outgrowing an old version of yourself that once felt familiar and safe. Think about the last few months of your life. Think about how certain people faded away without conflict, how certain plans lost their meaning without drama, how your priorities quietly rearranged themselves. That was not loss. That was preparation. God was lightening your load so you could move faster when the time came. Before every divine transfer, there is separation. Before elevation, there is pruning. What felt like rejection was actually protection. Chosen one, we are living in a prophetic season of wealth transfer, and it is important to understand what that truly means. This is not only about money. This is about ideas, influence, creativity, access, and authority. Heaven is reallocating resources away from systems that no longer serve and placing them into the hands of those who can steward them with integrity. Look around you. Old structures are shaking. What once felt permanent is being disrupted. This is not chaos without purpose. It is rearrangement with precision. I learned something that changed my life when I finally grasped it. God does not release abundance to impress people. He releases it to empower purpose. True wealth always begins in the spirit before it ever manifests in the physical. That is why your inner world has been so active lately. The dreams, the late-night thoughts, the moments of guidance you cannot fully explain yet. Heaven has been sketching the blueprint of your future quietly, patiently, waiting for your trust to catch up with your calling. Anointed One. You are not being awakened to chase riches. You are being awakened to channel them. There is a difference, and it matters. Worldly wealth inflates ego. Divine wealth expands responsibility. And if you are hearing this, it is because God already knows your heart can handle what is coming. You lived through enough lack to develop compassion. You endured enough pressure to develop wisdom. You waited long enough to learn patience. Those were not delays, they were credentials. I have watched people receive sudden success without preparation, and I have seen it unravel them. I have also watched people walk through years of quiet refinement and then step into overflow with peace, clarity, and stability. The difference was never talent. It was alignment, and alignment is exactly what heaven has been building in you. Chosen one, you may have noticed resistance increasing lately. Pressure fatigue, even moments of doubt whispering, "What if this never happens?" Do not misinterpret that voice. That is not failure speaking, that is proximity. Opposition intensifies right before promotion. When something valuable is about to be released, the pressure around it always increases. You are not losing ground. You are being stretched to receive more. And this is why you must understand this next truth deeply. Wealth itself is not evil. Money is neutral. It magnifies whatever is already inside the one holding it. In the hands of the unfaithful it corrupts. In the hands of the righteous it heals, builds, and restores. That is why God is raising a generation of divine stewards who understand that abundance is not ownership. It is assignment. Anointed One. You are being prepared to build things that outlive you, to create opportunities where none existed, to open doors for people who may never know your name, but will live better because you said yes. That is why shortcuts were removed from your path. God was not slowing you down. He was strengthening your foundation. If you feel that stirring in your spirit right now, let it settle. Let it confirm what you already know deep down. Abundance is not responding to chance. It is responding to alignment. And this alignment has been forming quietly, faithfully, intentionally. Sit with that truth for a moment. Let it take root. Chosen One. When divine elevation moves from preparation into manifestation, the signs stop being subtle. They no longer whisper once and disappear. They begin to repeat themselves until they can no longer be ignored. This is where many people become confused because they expect provision to arrive first. They think wealth shows up before confirmation. But heaven works in reverse. Long before abundance appears in your hands, it shows up in your awareness. That is why your inner world has been shifting faster than your outer circumstances. God always stabilizes the inside before he expands the outside, because increase without inner grounding becomes destruction instead of blessing. Anointed One. One of the first unmistakable signs that billionaire-level elevation is approaching is a deep, unexplainable peace in the middle of uncertainty. Things around you may still look unresolved. Numbers may not yet reflect the promise. Timelines may still feel open-ended, yet your spirit feels calm. You are no longer panicking the way you used to. You may still ask questions, but fear no longer controls your decisions. This peace is not denial, it is assurance. Heaven gives peace before power because only a peaceful spirit can handle increase without losing itself. I remember a season when nothing in my bank account reflected growth, yet my spirit felt grounded and confident in a way I had never experienced before. Looking back, that calm was the signal. God was stabilizing me internally so the external expansion would not overwhelm me. If you feel that same quiet confidence now, it means you have already passed a major test of trust. Chosen. Another sign that divine elevation is near is detachment. You begin to loosen your grip on material obsession, not because you no longer desire abundance, but because you no longer need it to prove your worth. Luxury stops being about validation and starts being about function and freedom. You crave purpose more than applause. This shift is critical. Heaven only releases wealth when it no longer owns your heart. Notice how your desires have matured. You do not just want money anymore. You want impact. You do not just want comfort. You want legacy. This is not something you forced through discipline or willpower. It happened naturally as your spirit grew. That is divine preparation. God does not entrust wealth to those who worship it. He entrusts it to those who can steward it without losing themselves. Anointed One, pay attention to the flow of ideas entering your life. This is another unmistakable sign. Concepts, visions, strategies, and solutions begin arriving with unusual clarity. Sometimes they come in still moments, sometimes through dreams, sometimes through a single sentence someone speaks that unlocks an entire direction. These are not random thoughts. These are prophetic downloads. Heaven does not drop money from the sky. It drops instruction. Every idea you receive carries the potential for abundance if you act on it. Notice which ideas keep returning. The ones that refuse to leave you alone. Those are seeds. Write them down. Sit with them. Pray over them. Most people miss divine instruction because it does not arrive dramatically. It arrives quietly, asking for obedience rather than attention. Chosen One. The ones who prosper are not the loudest or the fastest. They are the ones who move when God whispers, not only when he shouts. Along with ideas, you may notice divine connections forming. You begin encountering people who feel strategically placed in your life. Conversations feel timely. Introductions open doors you could not have opened alone. These are not coincidences. These are alignments. Heaven uses people as bridges. Destiny helpers appear when your season changes. When the right people begin showing up consistently, your elevation is no longer theoretical, it is near. At the same time, progress may begin to feel easier. Things that once took months begin to move in days. Effort still exists, but resistance decreases. Doors open with less struggle. The world may call it luck, but the chosen ones recognize it as favor. Anointed One, do not be alarmed if doors also begin closing quickly. Old relationships fade, old plans dissolve. Opportunities that once seemed promising suddenly end. Do not mourn these endings. Celebrate them. God is clearing space. He is removing distractions and misalignments to make room for greater assignments. Every closed door is protection from something that would have slowed you down. Another sign that divine elevation is active is heightened discernment. You sense alignment or misalignment almost instantly. You can walk into a room and feel whether it supports your growth or drains you. This is not paranoia. This is protection. God sharpens the discernment of His chosen ones so they do not sabotage their own elevation through poor decisions or unhealthy associations. Chosen one, you may also notice a hunger for knowledge you never had before. You feel drawn to learning about leadership systems, investing, or strategy. This hunger is not random. Your spirit is expanding to match your future. Divine wealth requires divine intelligence. God awakens curiosity before He releases responsibility. And then there is perhaps the most important sign of all. You stop feeling lucky and start feeling chosen. Your language changes. You no longer say if it happens. You say when it happens, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. You sense that something larger than you is orchestrating your steps. Doubt loses its grip. Authority replaces hesitation. This is when your frequency shifts. You stop chasing miracles, and miracles begin responding to you. Anointed one, when these signs appear together, it is confirmation. You are no longer being prepared for abundance. You are being aligned with it. The process you endured was not random. It was training for stewardship. God does not entrust massive resources to untested hands. But heaven knows your heart now. You proved faithful when there was little. And because of that abundance that glorifies God is being aligned with your life. Let that truth settle. Before release there is always testing, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every elevation requires proof of readiness. Chosen one. If life has felt unusually intense lately, if pressure has increased instead of decreased, understand this clearly. That is not a sign of delay, it is a sign of proximity. The first test that appears before wealth is released is patience. When you ask for increase, God often responds with waiting. Waiting is not denial, it is development. During waiting seasons, faith is strengthened, ego is softened, and dependence shifts from outcomes to God Himself. If you have learned to wait without resentment, to trust without proof, you have already passed a major test. Another test is integrity. Before wealth arrives, moments of compromise will present themselves. Shortcuts that look efficient, half-truths that seem harmless, opportunities that promise advantage at the cost of alignment. These moments matter more than you realize. Wealth built without integrity collapses under pressure. God watches how you handle truth when no one is watching. Your name matters more than money in heaven's economy. If you chose honesty, even when it cost you, heaven took note. Anointed one, humility is another test. Many chosen ones experience seasons of being overlooked, underestimated, or underpaid right before elevation. These moments strip pride and cultivate grace. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is remembering the source of your strength. If you can remain kind while unseen, grateful while unrecognized, and faithful without applause, you are proving that success will not corrupt you. Loss is another test. Sudden endings, financial setbacks, betrayals that feel unnecessary. Loss reveals where your trust truly lives. God removes unstable foundations before releasing stable abundance. What feels like destruction is often reconstruction. Chosen one, none of this has been wasted. Every test refined you. Every delay sharpened wisdom. You were not being punished. You were being prepared for the weight of wealth. Many desire success, but few can sustain it. Those who can are the ones who allowed heaven to shape them long before heaven rewarded them. If pressure has been heavy, it is because expansion is close. Let that truth anchor you. Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven recognizes readiness, and when that moment arrives, the next phase does not begin loudly. It begins decisively. This is where many people miss their timing, not because they are unworthy, but because they expect God to move with spectacle instead of precision. Divine strategy rarely announces itself with thunder. It arrives with clarity, peace, and exactness. You must understand this deeply. You will not stumble into abundance. You will be guided into it. God does not leave the elevation of His chosen ones to chance. What is unfolding now is intentional, measured, and personally tailored to your assignment. Anointed one. When your spirit reaches maturity, heaven begins releasing instructions that are custom fit for your calling. This is when ideas stop feeling scattered and start feeling directed. This is when your steps feel intentional, even if you cannot yet see the entire path. I remember a moment when an idea came to me that felt almost too simple to matter. It did not look impressive. There was no applause, no immediate reward, no visible momentum. But it carried peace. That peace was the confirmation. Looking back now, that small, obedient step unlocked doors I could never have forced open on my own. Divine strategy often looks small at first, because it is designed to test obedience, not ego. Chosen one. Heaven communicates through alignment, not pressure. When God gives direction, it brings calm, even when it stretches you. If you feel rushed, anxious, or desperate, pause. That is not how divine guidance feels. Divine instruction may challenge your comfort zone, but it will always bring an inner assurance that settles your spirit. In this phase, guidance may come through unexpected ways. A conversation that answers a question you never spoke aloud. A book that feels like it was written specifically for you. A thought that drops into your awareness with unusual clarity. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven places markers along your path so you do not miss your season. Anointed one, pay attention to repetition. When something keeps showing up in your awareness, heaven is emphasizing it. God repeats what He does not want you to ignore. The idea you keep circling back to. The direction you keep resisting out of fear. The step you keep postponing. These are not distractions, they are divine breadcrumbs. Another sign you are operating in the strategy phase is timing sensitivity. You become more aware of when to move and when to wait. You begin to recognize that moving too early creates resistance and moving too late creates missed opportunity. Divine timing is not rushed, but it is precise. When you move in alignment, things click into place with less effort than you expected. Chosen one. This is why stillness becomes essential in this season. Stillness sharpens discernment. It tunes your spirit to heaven's frequency. In quiet moments, guidance becomes clearer. I have learned that the answers I once chased showed up effortlessly when I learned to sit still. Noise drowns instruction. Silence amplifies it. Sometimes divine guidance will require you to do something uncomfortable, to invest when it feels risky, to start before you feel fully ready, to release what feels safe but no longer fits. These moments test trust. When heaven asks for movement that logic cannot justify, but peace confirms obedience, becomes the bridge between preparation and manifestation. Anointed one. Divine strategy also requires discipline. God gives ideas, but He expects execution. Vision without action remains imagination. Consistency is what turns revelation into reality. The chosen ones who prosper are not only spiritually sensitive, they are faithfully disciplined. Small actions taken consistently carry enormous spiritual weight. In this phase, your mindset may begin shifting rapidly. New thoughts enter your awareness. Thoughts like, "I am capable," "This is possible," "It is already unfolding." These are not self-generated affirmations. They are divine impressions rewiring your beliefs to match your destiny. Chosen one. Before wealth manifests externally, it must exist internally. This is why protecting your atmosphere becomes critical. What you listen to, what you speak, and what you allow around you either supports clarity or disrupts it. Negativity clouds guidance. Gratitude amplifies it. Peace keeps the channel open. Heaven speaks in clarity, not confusion. When your environment aligns with your calling, instruction flows more easily. You may also begin noticing patterns forming. A phrase that keeps appearing, a theme that repeats across different sources, a direction that becomes unavoidable. These are confirmations. Follow them. They lead directly to your next assignment. Divine strategy is progressive. It unfolds step by step, not all at once. Anointed one, hear this clearly. Divine strategy is not designed to make you rich for ego. It is designed to make you resourceful for purpose. The wealth being built through you is meant to touch lives, restore communities, and fund light in dark places. You are not only being prepared to receive, you are being prepared to release. Pause and reflect on that. What ideas have been surfacing lately? What instructions have you been delaying out of fear or doubt? Those questions unlock your next level. The moment you act on what you already know, alignment accelerates. This is not the time to overthink. This is the time to obey. Chosen one. When execution begins, something unexpected happens. You realize it was never about money. Increase reveals something deeper. It exposes purpose. This is where many misunderstand elevation. Abundance does not arrive to change your character. It arrives to reveal it. For those who are chosen, wealth becomes a tool for building, not a trophy for display. This is where transformation into a kingdom builder begins. I remember the first time provision arrived faster than effort. It felt surreal, not because of the amount, but because of the responsibility it carried. Suddenly, every decision mattered more. Every choice had weight. That is when it became clear God was not only trusting me with resources, He was trusting me with influence. Anointed one. Every resource placed in your hands is a divine assignment. You are not being elevated to live in excess without intention. You are being positioned to build something that lasts. This is why your heart has been shifting. This is why you no longer measure success the way you used to. Survival prayers turn into impact prayers. You stop asking, "How do I get more?" and start asking, "How do I use this well?" This is the difference between receivers and restorers. Receivers consume blessings. Restorers multiply them. You are being moved from receiving to distributing, from dreaming to designing, from hoping to building. Chosen one. This is why your journey has been intense. God had to purify motives before releasing significant wealth. If abundance had arrived earlier, it might have distracted you. Now it will direct you. Kingdom building always begins with inner alignment. Before you build externally, your inner foundation must remain strong. Prayer, stillness, gratitude, and service are not optional. They are stabilizers. Divine power flows through purity. The moment ego replaces humility, the flow slows down. Always remember this: you are not the owner of heaven's resources. You are the manager. This understanding protects you. Anointed one, wealth that flows through you will not run dry. Wealth that stops with you eventually collapses. That is why generosity becomes natural at this stage. Giving no longer feels forced. It feels aligned. You begin to experience divine economy. The more you pour out, the more heaven replenishes. You may also notice your circle shifting. As your role changes, your relationships change. New people appear. People who think differently. People whose visions resonate with yours. These are not random connections. These are destiny alignments. God brings chosen ones together to build what no single person could carry alone. Chosen one, your creativity will increase. Solutions will appear where others see problems. Ideas will form that challenge outdated systems. You will notice opportunities in places others overlook. You were not created to fit into broken systems. You were chosen to redesign them. But understand, this vision alone is not enough. Consistent action turns revelation into reality. Heaven honors consistency. Integrity becomes even more important as influence grows. People will watch how you treat others, how you handle success, how you respond under pressure. Your life will speak louder than your words, and that awareness will keep you grounded as elevation continues. Chosen one, as influence expands and resources increase, the assignment does not end. In many ways, it deepens. Receiving divine wealth is only half of the responsibility. Sustaining it requires maturity, awareness, and continued alignment. Many can receive abundance, but few know how to protect it. This is where spiritual depth determines whether wealth multiplies or slowly drains away. Heaven does not stop refining you once elevation begins. What God releases, He intends to preserve. And preservation always starts in the spirit, not in strategy. Anointed one, I want to speak to you here with honesty and care. The greatest threats to divine wealth are rarely external. They are internal shifts that happen quietly if left unchecked. Pride, distraction, entitlement, and forgetfulness do not announce themselves loudly. They slip in subtly. That is why protection begins with remembrance. Never forget the source. The moment a chosen one begins to believe, I did this, the flow weakens. Humility keeps the channel open. Humility does not deny effort. It acknowledges empowerment. Every idea you received, every connection that opened a door, every opportunity that aligned at the right moment was breathed into existence by God. Chosen one. When remembrance stays intact, gratitude becomes natural, and gratitude stabilizes abundance. I have watched people rise quickly and lose just as fast, not because they lacked skill, but because they lost reverence. They stopped listening. They stopped checking their spirit. They replaced prayer with planning and intuition with control. Divine wealth cannot be sustained by intellect alone. It requires continued alignment. The same God who guided you into increase must remain at the center if it is to stay. Anointed one, discipline is another essential protection. Abundance without discipline turns into excess. Divine wealth grows through structure, boundaries, and intentional stewardship. That means managing your time as carefully as your finances. It means guarding your energy, not just your calendar. It means saying no to distractions that feel good but drain focus. Discipline is not restriction, it is protection. As wealth increases, demands increase too. Everyone will want access. Everyone will have an opinion. Everyone will see potential in you. Boundaries become sacred in this season. Chosen one. Not every opportunity that looks profitable is aligned. Some doors appear attractive but carry spiritual misalignment. Discernment protects you from building what God never assigned. This is why integrity under pressure becomes non-negotiable. As influence grows, temptation grows. Shortcuts look smarter, Compromises feel justified, but wealth built on compromise always carries collapse inside it. Heaven sustains what is built in truth. Your reputation is not just public perception, it is a spiritual asset. Protect it fiercely. Anointed One generosity must remain a lifestyle, not an occasional act. Giving is not something you do only when abundance feels comfortable. It becomes part of your rhythm. Generosity keeps wealth circulating. It reminds your spirit that you are a conduit, not a container. I have learned that when generosity slows, flow often slows with it, not as punishment, but as correction. And generosity is not only financial, it is generosity of wisdom, encouragement, access, and opportunity. Lifting others does not diminish you, it confirms your assignment. Divine wealth grows best in ecosystems, not isolation. Chosen. One another critical protection is the care of your inner world. Success magnifies whatever lives inside you. If unresolved wounds remain, wealth will amplify them. If insecurity lingers, abundance will expose it. That is why emotional and spiritual maintenance must continue even as life accelerates. Healing does not end because you reached a milestone. Reflection does not stop because results improved. Surrender remains essential. I have seen chosen ones sabotage themselves not through obvious mistakes, but through neglecting inner work. They became productive but disconnected, busy but empty. Divine wealth is meant to enrich your life, not replace your soul. Anointed One stillness must remain part of your rhythm. Silence must remain sacred. These are not luxuries reserved for quieter seasons. They are necessities for sustained clarity. Another protection principle is alignment of relationships. As your life expands, not everyone can come with you. Some people will resent your growth. Others will attach themselves for access rather than alignment. Discernment is required here. Love everyone but trust wisely. Access is earned through alignment, not proximity. Chosen One. If relationships have shifted recently, do not resist it. Release with peace. Divine wealth requires clarity, and clarity sometimes requires distance. You are not being isolated. You are being preserved. God often removes people quietly to protect the assignment. One of the most overlooked protections is obedience after blessing. Many obey to receive, but few obey to sustain. God will continue giving instructions even after abundance arrives. Some will feel inconvenient, others will challenge comfort. Obedience must remain your anchor. Delayed obedience can create stagnation, even in abundance. Anointed One protection also comes through purpose. When you remain focused on why you were blessed, you will not misuse what you received. Purpose keeps wealth from becoming hollow. When resources stay connected to impact, they remain energized. Heaven funds purpose consistently. Ego is expensive. Purpose is sustainable. You were not elevated to prove anything. You were elevated to serve something greater than yourself. Chosen One. The same God who trusted you with little has now entrusted you with much because He knows your heart. Protect that heart. Protect that alignment. Protect that calling. You are not just walking into wealth. You are walking into legacy. This is not about personal comfort alone. This is about generational impact. The decisions you make now carry weight beyond your lifetime. Anointed One legacy thinking changes how you move. You begin to think beyond accumulation and towards circulation. You start measuring success not only by what you gain, but by what is restored through you. Schools built, communities strengthened, families uplifted. This is what abundance looks like in its highest form. Wealth becomes love in motion, compassion funded, hope activated. And do not misunderstand this path as easy. Responsibility increases with influence, pressure increases with impact, but grace increases as well. God does not call you to build without supplying strength. He equips those he appoints. Chosen one. Every challenge you face at this level comes matched with provision to overcome it. There is a reason your life unfolded the way it did. You tasted lack, so you would develop empathy. You faced betrayal, so you would value loyalty. You were overlooked, so you would learn how to lift others. These experiences were not accidents, they were qualifications. Heaven does not choose randomly, it chooses intentionally. Anointed one, reflect on this quietly. What are you being called to build, not just enjoy? What responsibility feels heavy, but meaningful? That weight is not a burden, it is confirmation. That is where your assignment lives. And when you say yes to that calling, something shifts permanently. Abundance stops being something you receive and becomes something you release. That is when wealth transforms from a blessing into a testimony. Chosen one, you are not here to hoard light. You are here to distribute it. You are not being elevated for comfort alone. You are being positioned for contribution. And the more faithfully you steward what flows through you, the more heaven entrusts you with. Let that truth remain close to your spirit as you continue walking forward in alignment. Chosen one. There is a sacred moment when everything you have walked through begins to make sense. Preparation, testing, discipline, obedience, and surrender quietly converge, and what once felt fragmented aligns into a clear picture. This is not a dramatic explosion, it is a deep confirmation. The season you have been sensing, praying into, and quietly preparing for has arrived. Heaven is not debating it, heaven is declaring it. You may not hear trumpets or see immediate spectacle, but you will feel something unmistakable settle in your spirit. Effort begins to give way to flow. Striving softens into alignment. What once felt heavy starts to feel natural. Anointed one. This is the moment when you realize you are no longer waiting for permission. You are walking in authorization. The shift is not approaching, it has already begun. Look at how far you have come. There were moments you questioned yourself, moments you wondered if you misunderstood the call, moments when obedience felt lonely and faith felt costly. Yet you stayed, you learned, you did not quit in the dark. Heaven took note of every silent decision, every unseen sacrifice, every time you chose integrity over ease. None of it was wasted. Chosen one. What you are stepping into now is not ordinary success. It is divine fulfillment. Confusion from past seasons begins dissolving. Things that once felt disconnected start aligning. People find you at the right time. Opportunities present themselves with precision. Timing tightens. This is what happens when heaven endorses your movement. You may notice that peace has replaced urgency, confidence has replaced doubt, and clarity has replaced confusion. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. When God releases abundance, He also releases stability. The peace you feel is the signal that you are ready to carry what is coming without losing yourself. Anointed one, visible results will begin to follow. Doors will open that make no logical sense. Financial movement may accelerate faster than expected. Ideas will begin producing outcomes that multiply beyond effort. These are not anomalies. These are signs of divine favor responding to divine alignment. But hear this carefully: as wealth increases, humility must deepen. Influence must soften your heart, not harden it. Wisdom must guide every decision. Pride will whisper, "You did this." Wisdom will remind you, "You were chosen for this." That posture sustains elevation. Chosen one. People will ask how it happened. Some will admire, some will misunderstand, some will attempt to replicate results without understanding the process. Your responsibility is not to explain, it is to exemplify. Let your life speak, let your peace preach, let your generosity testify. Divine wealth always points back to its source. Remember this as you rise. Wealth is not just what you receive, it is what you manage, it is what you multiply, it is what you release. Heaven's economy flows through responsibility, not entitlement. Anointed One, the more faithfully you steward what flows through you, the more heaven entrusts you with. This is why this season is expansive on every level, not just financially. Mentally, spiritually, relationally, you are entering wholeness, alignment in every area of life. Guard your spirit in this season. Keep your intentions pure. Keep your heart open. What is coming is generational. You are carrying blessings that will outlive you. Decisions you make now will shape destinies you may never meet. Chosen One, understand this deeply. You are not just being blessed. You are being positioned as a distributor. Through you, families will rise, communities will be restored, vision will be funded, light will expand. This is kingdom wealth in motion. And as acceleration increases, remember this truth. Rest is not laziness. Stillness is not stagnation. You do not need to rush to prove anything. Heaven is already moving on your behalf. Things that once took years will take weeks. Delays that once frustrated you will now make sense. They preserved space for divine yeses. Anointed One, stay humble enough to serve and bold enough to lead. Influence carried with grace lasts longer than influence driven by ego. Let your abundance speak louder than your words. Use wealth as evidence of faith, not proof of superiority. You did not arrive here by accident. You aligned here through endurance. You stayed faithful through fire. That faithfulness built capacity, and capacity is what heaven rewards. Chosen One, you deserve to walk boldly into this new dimension, not with arrogance, but with gratitude and reverence. This is your inheritance, not because you demanded it, but because you were prepared for it. Right now, heaven is declaring that the season of waiting has ended. The season of receiving has begun. The world is about to witness what happens when a chosen one steps fully into purpose. Anointed Ones, stand tall. You have crossed from preparation into possession, from trials into triumph. Every tear mattered. Every sacrifice counted. God saw it all, and He is rewarding you openly. This is not a future promise. This is a present reality unfolding. Speak it with humility. Walk in it with wisdom. Steward it with integrity. Chosen One, heaven has already spoken. What has been written over your life cannot be reversed. You are not at the beginning, and you are not waiting anymore. You are standing in your appointed moment, where heaven and earth align on your behalf. What has been released is already in motion. Doors are opening. Favor is responding. Remain still in your spirit and full in your faith. Guard your heart. Honor the instruction you have received. Move forward with gratitude, not anxiety. Anointed One, what is coming does not need to be chased. It will recognize you. Heaven never misses its timing, and it has not missed you. May peace anchor you, wisdom guide you, and courage clothe you as you step into what has already been prepared. You are covered, you are confirmed, you are commissioned for increase that carries purpose, responsibility, and legacy. Chosen One, as this word settles into your spirit, there is an invitation being extended to you, not to strive harder, but to stand differently. You are being asked to stand from a place of knowing rather than hoping, from alignment rather than anticipation. This is not the posture of someone waiting to be convinced. This is the posture of someone who has already heard heaven and chosen to agree. Agreement is powerful. Agreement is where activation becomes visible. And right now, agreement is forming between what God has spoken and what you are willing to carry. Anointed One, there is a reason this message has reached you now and not earlier. Timing is not just about opportunity, it is about capacity. There were seasons when this level of clarity would have overwhelmed you, when this degree of responsibility would have distracted you, when this kind of authority might have distorted your focus. But you are different now. You have been shaped. You have been tempered. You have learned how to hold weight without losing balance. That is why this moment feels calm instead of chaotic. Heaven only releases clarity when the vessel can sustain it. Chosen One, you may notice that your reactions to life have changed. Things that once triggered anxiety no longer hold the same power. Situations that once would have rushed you now invite discernment instead. This is evidence of internal government being established. Before God governs through you externally, He governs within you internally. Order in the spirit precedes order in the material, and what is being built inside you now is not fragile. It is stable-rooted and capable of supporting what is coming next. Anointed One, understand this truth clearly. Wealth does not change who you are, it reveals who you have become. Influence does not introduce temptation, it amplifies existing posture. That is why heaven was patient with you. That is why shortcuts were removed. That is why doors closed that you begged to open. God was not withholding favor. He was protecting future impact. You are stepping into increase with clarity instead of confusion, authority instead of insecurity, and peace instead of pressure. Chosen One, there will be moments ahead when the speed of alignment surprises you, when resources respond faster than expected, when people show up already prepared to collaborate, when solutions emerge before problems fully form. Do not be startled by this. Do not shrink back or question whether you deserve it. This is not entitlement. This is evidence of alignment. What you are experiencing is not luck. It is momentum created by obedience layered over time. Anointed One, remain attentive in this season, not anxious but aware. There is a difference. Awareness allows you to steward moments wisely. Anxiety causes you to rush them. You are not called to rush what God has timed. You are called to recognize it, and recognition requires stillness. Even as life accelerates, do not abandon the quiet places that shaped you. Stillness is not where momentum dies, it is where direction is refined. Chosen One, your voice will carry more weight now. What you say will influence outcomes. What you choose will affect others. This is not something to fear, it is something to honor. Speak with intention, decide with integrity. Move with humility. Authority exercised without reverence eventually collapses, but authority carried with humility becomes generational. Let your leadership feel safe. Let your presence bring peace. Let people encounter God's order through the way you operate. Anointed One, there will be moments when you are tempted to explain yourself to justify your growth or to soften your expansion so others feel comfortable. Resist that urge. You are not responsible for managing other people's perceptions. You are responsible for managing your alignment. Expansion will always challenge those committed to smallness. Your task is not to shrink. It is to remain grounded. Light does not argue with darkness, it simply shines. Chosen One, remember that rest is part of your assignment, not escape, but restoration. You are not required to carry everything alone. Delegation is wisdom, support is not weakness. God often sends help disguised as collaboration. Receive it with gratitude. You do not need to prove strength by exhaustion. Longevity is built through balance. Sustainable wealth flows through rested vessels. Anointed One, your generosity will take new forms. It may show up as mentorship opportunity, access, or advocacy. Let generosity remain fluid. Let it respond to discernment, not pressure. You are not called to rescue everyone, but you are called to respond where heaven highlights. Give where there is alignment. Invest where there is stewardship. Bless where there is humility. Generosity guided by wisdom multiplies impact without draining capacity. Chosen One. There may still be challenges ahead, but they will not define you. They will refine you. You are no longer learning whether God is faithful. You are learning how to partner with that faithfulness responsibly. Challenges at this level are not punishments. They are calibrations. They help you adjust posture, refine vision, and strengthen systems. Do not interpret resistance as reversal. Often it is confirmation that what you are building matters. Anointed Ones, stay anchored in gratitude. Gratitude keeps perception clear. It reminds you where you came from without pulling you backward. It allows you to enjoy progress without worshipping it. Gratitude keeps your heart soft while your influence grows strong. Let thankfulness remain your default language, especially when things go well. Success tests humility more than struggle ever did. Chosen One. Your life is becoming an answer to prayers you once whispered quietly. Let that reality humble you, not harden you. Let it deepen your compassion. Let it expand your sense of responsibility. You are not here to consume opportunity. You are here to cultivate it. You are not here to gather attention. You are here to generate impact. This understanding will keep your movement clean and your motives clear. Anointed One, as you move forward, do not lose the simplicity that carried you through complexity. Obedience does not become complicated at higher levels. It becomes more precise. Listen closely. Respond promptly. Trust deeply. You do not need to know every step to take the next one. Clarity comes through motion, aligned with peace. Chosen One. Heaven has already acknowledged your readiness. The question now is not whether you are chosen. That has been settled. The question is whether you will continue to walk with the same humility, discipline, and surrender that brought you here. And based on everything you have endured, everything you have learned, and everything you have refused to compromise, the answer is already evident. Remain grounded, remain grateful, remain obedient. What flows through you now will touch far more than you can see, and what you steward faithfully will continue to expand with purpose. You are not just stepping into abundance. You are stepping into responsibility that carries meaning, reach, and legacy. And heaven is watching, not to test you again, but to partner with you as you build what was entrusted to your hands. Chosen One, as this word comes to rest upon your spirit, receive this moment with reverence. You are not at the beginning, and you are not waiting anymore. You are standing in your Kairos moment, the divinely appointed time where heaven and earth align on your behalf. What has been spoken is already in motion. The transfer has begun. Doors are opening, favor is responding, and what you were prepared for is now recognizing your obedience. Anointed One, remain still in your spirit and full in your faith. Stay aligned with the flow of the anointing. Guard your heart. Honor the instruction you have received. Walk forward with gratitude, not anxiety. What is coming does not need to be chased, it will find you. Heaven never misses its timing, and it has not missed you. May peace anchor you, wisdom guide you, and courage clothe you as you step into what has already been written. You are covered, you are confirmed, you are commissioned for increase that carries purpose, responsibility, and legacy. Let your life speak, let your peace preach. let your stewardship testify. If your spirit bears witness to this word, you may quietly affirm it below as a sacred agreement, and if you feel led, share the city you're listening from as a testimony of this moment. Remain connected, stay faithful, and walk gently, boldly, and obediently. Go forward, chosen one. Heaven has spoken, and the manifestation is unfolding now.